Welcome to the Positive Sports Podcast. I'll be your host this evening, Ed Montana. Alongside me today, the Nick Foles of podcasting. The backup, but as good as the real deal. My brother Alex. Alex, how you doing?
I like that one, except... Yeah, I like that one.
Right? Because, I mean, he's a backup, but he's as good as the real deal when it comes to the playoffs.
Exactly.
He is the real deal.
Who are we talking about? We'll get to that in a minute. This is our first show of 2019.
That's right.
So it's kind of like episode number 1. But it's not. It's episode number 56 of the Positive Sports Podcast.
Okay, and we're going to talk mostly football, so let's do it right now.
Okay.
And I don't care how many 56s you can think of. This is the Lawrence Taylor episode.
Oh, yeah.
There is no other 56 in my opinion.
Absolutely. 56.
And that's not,
Lawrence
I'm
Taylor.
not being a homer.
I am.
Yeah, you're always a homer. So,
I agree.
Obviously, we just got done watching a very exciting Eagles-Bears game.
Yes.
We've had 4 games this weekend. Before we get into the football, you said it's our first episode of 2019.
Yep.
So, what is your one wish? What would you like to see more than anything else in 2019?
I wish for 2019 that we can see more funny memes. I hope someone in the playoffs later on down the line is looking like they're skating and, just the funny memes. Memes.
No,
they make me laugh.
Seriously, in the world of sports, what's the one thing you would like to see?
In the world of sports, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I guess more, more sports. less sports that really don't matter. Because there's a lot of sports out there that...
Oh, I disagree.
No one's watching.
I disagree with that. More sports is better. You ever watch a good cricket match?
No.
I love it.
Not on my TV.
I love it. I'll watch anything, man. I'm a degenerate sportsaholic.
Yeah, I am too.
I mean, I'll watch anything. I don't give a shit. If I can't sleep late at night and I'm flipping through channels, I will watch fucking Old Dominion versus Duquesne women's basketball or some shit. I will watch anything.
You need a life.
Maybe so. Okay, my wish for 2017, for 2019.
17?
I'm going backwards.
Dude, that's 2 years ago.
I'm trying to get younger, bro. No, my sports wish, actually I have 2. My sports wish for 2019. 1, please NFL, figure out the catch rules. I know we've talked about this before, but please figure out the catch rules. We had another incident today. I just don't understand what constitutes a catch, what doesn't constitute a catch. When is it catch that's a fumble, then not a catch because no one picked up the fumble? I mean, it is beyond confusing.
Well, you might as well have that wish in your back pocket for the next years.
My other wish, and anyone who's been a faithful listener of this show probably already knows, and I'm not going to talk about it very much. FIFA, figure out the fucking VAR, all right? Either you're going to use it all the time or you're not going to use it at all. You can't pick and choose when to use the VAR. We were complaining about this during the NFL game earlier. It seems like every play, there's a replay that we could watch and change the call. And sometimes I think that's excessive. But I'd rather have that than have the whole selective VAR thing. I got I got players asking for the VAR. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. FIFA needs to fix that. I'm not going into it anymore.
I agree. I agree with that one. Actually, both of them.
Yeah. Anyway. All right, so let's get into it. Wild card weekend. Exciting or not exciting? Overall.
Overall, I mean, if I had to grade it, I'd probably say it was, let's see, 4 teams?
Four games.
4 games. Man, I'm a lowball them so far. I'll give it average. What's average? I didn't pass
C?
50. C. They've been average.
First game
They've
was
been average.
First game was a dud. Second game was good. Third game was a dud until the very end.
Yep.
Fourth game was good throughout.
Yeah, right.
So that's a little bit above average. To me, I'd give it a C plus B minus.
Yeah,
so far on the weekend.
I guess we could start off with the first game of the wild card between the Texans and the Colts. And before we go any further, I'm sure everyone's watched the game. My curse lives on. My curse lives on another year. The Texans are eliminated after
out.
I picked them to go to the Super Bowl, but you were correct in this game in saying that this was going to be decided in the trenches. I mean, the line decided this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
The way the Colts played, man, running the ball, and it just looked like the pressure from the Texans was never there.
Yeah, and my whole take on this game was the game was going to be won between the lines, between the Colts offensive line and the Texans defensive line. I thought the Texans on offense would get their 20 some odd points. It was a matter of whether the Colts were going to get 35 or they were going to get 17. And it didn't quite work out that way. It was a much more low scoring game than that. But really, it happened. It did happen the way I said, because the Colts were so dominant in those first two drives, moving the ball down the field. Yeah. They put the Texans offense on their heels, and they never really got going. And we ended up with really a rather boring game and a bit of a dud, with the Colts winning 21-7. Look, you can't say enough good things about Andrew Luck. I mean,
think about it. That guy couldn't. He had to throw a Nerf football at the beginning of training camp. Like, he couldn't palm an NFL-sized football.
Dude, when I was a kid, I could sling a Nerf, bro.
Oh, they had the cool one with the little whistle inside, the screamer.
I didn't even need
those.
that.
Those were awesome.
Yeah, they made a lot of noise, but I could take a Nerf and I could chuck it.
Yeah, well, you didn't have shoulder problems like.
No, I know, but I'm just saying back in the day, I could sling a Nerf ball like 400 or 500 yards.
4 football feet.
I had a cannon ball. I wasn't accurate, but I could fucking throw it.
Hey, but think about that for a second. Within a year, it
is an incredible
the way he's like progressed has been amazing. And when you look at this Colts team, they got a young offensive line. Like, Giants, please take notes. They have a really young offensive line. That kid Quentin Nelson, drafted like 6th in this past draft. I mean, they've been blocking so well, running the ball. I mean, it really that offensive line has taken that offense.
You really can't say enough good things about that offensive line.
A rookie coach.
Yeah,
and
look, he's a rookie coach, but he did go to the Super Bowl last year with the Eagles, and he did a fantastic job. He's done.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, he was there.
He was their offensive coordinator.
Oh,
or whatever.
I didn't know that.
So he's done a great job, and look, he's a pretty cerebral guy. I mean, he was a quarterback in the NFL for many years, so he's not not a dummy. And he's done. I'm more impressed with how he kept that team together at 1-5, and they've been basically playing playoff football for the last 6 weeks because they've had to come from so far back. They dug themselves quite the hole early in the season, but Andrew Luck's he's the man. We forgot how he obviously missed an entire season. He did struggle, I think, a little bit physically in the beginning of the season, and we forgot that this is a franchise caliber quarterback, and he's just proving it all over again. Really, really neat to see. Good dude from here in the Houston area, and
he's from Houston.
He's from the Houston area. I actually watched him play in high school. He's a hell of a player, man. He's good.
And the Texans, they started off slow also, not as bad as 1-5. Started off 0-3 and then reeled off about 9 straight wins.
Yeah.
Something like that. Pretty much had a good hold of that division for the most part. But throughout the season, you saw issues with the offensive line, and it seemed that well, in this game against the Colts, it feels like Watson's ability to throw a good pass, it showed a little bit. Because some of the passes were short.
Yeah, he bounced a few that I was pretty upset with.
And the line didn't really give him a lot of time. Again, you win in the trenches.
It's weird because I don't feel like the Texans are far away. I don't feel like they're very far from being a dominant football team. But I don't really know what they have to address. Their defense is good, but their secondary is a little spotty at times. And Clowney and Watt were pretty much shut down yesterday. Clowney has just huge chunks of time where he is completely absent from the game. And I don't know if that's a scheme issue from other teams or if that's just him. But there's something not quite right there. Offensively, I think Deshaun Watson is awesome. Remember, the kid's only started 20-some-odd games in the NFL. He's not, it's not like he's a 5-year guy. But, yeah, he does. Sometimes when he throws the ball, it's just not very accurate. The running game is okay, but not great. DeAndre Hopkins I think the receiving core is probably the only thing that I'm 100% confident in. I think that is an elite level. DeAndre Hopkins is very good. They had the other kid that went out hurt for the season.
PT or something like
that? They had a kid from Notre Dame that went out hurt earlier in the season. The name escapes me right now, but they've got Fuller, who's really good.
That's right.
And they've got this cutie guy who is good as well. So from a receiving core perspective, I think they're very good. Maybe, tight end is okay. But I'm not... Again, I feel like they're very close to being an elite team, but I'm not quite sure what the problem is or what they need. And if we're going to be completely fair, I don't know that Bill O'Brien is the right... I think Bill O'Brien might be the right manager, but I don't think he's the right coach.
Yeah.
I don't want him calling plays. Sometimes the play calling on that team is like, what are you doing? But I think he does something for the mentality and the locker room of that team. That's why I think he's a manager, not a coach.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
think,
just my gut feeling.
No, you hit on some good points. I think the Texans really going forward, this is going to be a really important offseason because Watt is getting older. Clowney up for a contract. Bill O'Brien, I'm not sold on him. He just doesn't seem like he's the perfect coach for this team. The offensive line needs work. I mean, these are. I mean, the secondary, like you mentioned, is it needs some help. There's some holes in this team that really need to be addressed.
Yeah, and I feel like if they don't make some serious moves this offseason, they could be one injury away from being 5-11 next year.
Yeah.
So
I think it starts with the offensive line. They really need to address. I mean, you got to protect the quarterback. He can't be running all the time.
Yeah, it's
good to have. It's a good weapon, but you just can't do it half of the time. You know what I mean?
It was too much yesterday for sure.
So the Colts now play the
Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
In Kansas City.
Kansas City, yes.
We'll get on to what's going to happen next week. Let's keep going on this past week because it was good stuff. So we got to last night, and quite honestly, the only thing I remember about last night was the drunk chicks at the bar we watched the game.
Yes, we won't mention
who
they were.
We won't mention any names. I don't know their names, but
I know one of them.
We had a good time at the bar watching the game. So the game we're talking about is Seattle at Dallas.
That's right.
I thought that was a good game.
It was better than the first.
There were quite a few Dallas fans where we watched it. Did you see any Dallas fans that looked confident? I heard little cheering. It seemed like they were just petrified that they were going to lose that game. All the Dallas fans in there didn't seem all that excited. They seemed more nervous about losing than excited or anticipating a win.
They were ready for the letdown. I don't blame them because they almost...
Yeah.
It was
a
close.
Hell of a game. It was a hell of a game. Look, as long as Dak Prescott can play decent football, the Cowboys have a chance against just about anybody because that offensive line is going to give him time, and Elliott is going to run the ball, and that's just if Dak Prescott can just play decent football, they've got a chance all the time, in my opinion.
Yeah, and don't forget, Cowboys defense is not top 5, is not Chicago Bear, Rams, or whatever. But they have a pretty stout defense.
Very good defense.
It's not bad at all.
No.
But I expected a little more from the Seahawks. I felt like they didn't run the ball enough.
Yeah, that's been their bread and butter all year. They I want to say they're the only team in the NFL to actually run the ball more than throw the ball during the course of the season. I think I saw that statistic that they're the only ones that actually are above 50% rushing. So, and I don't think they did that last night. Now, some of that was the circumstances in the fourth quarter for sure, but they've been running the ball. They've been living by running the ball. They didn't seem to do it as much yesterday. I kind of share the blame there on Seattle for not being more committed to the run, but also on Dallas for stopping the run. Dallas played a good game.
You don't blame Pete Carroll then for shying away from the run?
A little bit.
We've seen him shy away from the run before.
Yeah, a little bit. But I also think part of that was I think Dallas forced them to throw the ball. Dallas put a lot of people in the box.
No.
And they stuffed a lot of runs early, forcing putting them in second and long situations where I think the Seahawks felt like they had to throw on 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10, 2nd and 12. And, made it a little bit tougher for them to get their run game going. It was kind of a stop-and-go, herky-jerky game in the beginning.
Yeah.
It started to get a little bit smoother in the second half for both teams.
Right,
but
if you took the under, you were like in the first half, right? Or at least the first 3 quarters.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, all the points came in the fourth quarter. That's where most of the damage was done for the people that were betting the under.
And if you took Dallas at given the 2.5, oh my God! I've seen some funny stuff on Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter's the best, right?
With that one guy from Barstool,
that guy, that degenerate gambler who's just losing
it. Man, that's a really bad
But
beat.
Anyone who's ever bet has done that math just like that guy. Anyone who's ever bet the over/under has done that. Okay, that's fine. They scored a touchdown.
Right.
That's okay. They'll kick the extra point. No big deal, right? And it's one of those things, right? If Janikowski doesn't get hurt on that field goal attempt right before halftime, they kick the extra point. They try to tie the game at 24. Onside kick, try to kick a field goal to tie. But they didn't have a kicker, and their punter was so bad that they didn't even want to try an extra point.
What the hell was that? That was the worst attempt at
the onside kick?
At the onside kick at the very end. Someone could have done better. Someone else could have done better than that.
I don't understand. I understand he's the punter, but put the damn ball on a tee and just kick it on the ground. I mean, it's not that hard. I don't think it's that hard.
Well, memo to football teams or college teams: if your kicker goes out, train your punter.
Yeah, I mean,
to learn how to kick an onside kick.
Why is he not on the sideline with the ball on the tee, kicking it, trying to dribble it into the net over and over again until it's time? I don't know. But really unfortunate for them. Speaking of unfortunate, that Dallas receiver, Hearns, that is one of the most gruesome things I've ever seen. But good news is, I read a report today. He had surgery today, and he is expected to be back for training camp in August.
Damn.
Unless there are complications. Isn't that incredible?
I mean, you can damn near see the bone pop out through his sock.
Yeah. It came out of his skin for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And it almost came out of his sock. They almost had to pick up the pieces on the field. Thank God he had socks. I mean, it was gruesome. And as I'm saying this, someone is listening to this going, oh, wait, let me find, what was his name again? Hearns.
Alan Hearns.
Yeah, because I know there's someone out there going, oh, I want to see that.
If you've never seen that one, YouTube the basketball player, the guard from Louisville, in the tournament, in the March Madness. Now that one, talk about gruesome.
There was another one over the weekend. An MMA guy went to kick somebody and
the guy that went to kick broke his.
Yeah, it broke it on the other guy's knee.
Didn't that happen once before with what's his name?
Anderson Silva.
Yes. That's right. The Brazil, right?
Yeah, he's a Brazilian guy. Yeah. He went to kick Chris Weidman.
Yeah, that was.
They showed it in slow-mo, and you could see his leg wrap all the way around the other guy's leg.
Damn snake.
Oh. There are some gruesome ones out there. The most gruesome one I've ever seen is the one from the World's Strongest Man competition. These two guys were arm wrestling, and this guy's forearm snapped in half. It was disgusting.
Well, in honor of podcast number 56,
that's right.
Lawrence Taylor had probably
one of the most gruesome ones as well. That finished Joe Theismann's career.
Sorry, Joe Theismann.
It's kind of appropriate that we got on this
I know,
gruesome subject since it is episode 56.
That's right.
I guess we could have talked about it on episode 7 for Joe Theismann.
Yeah. We'll bring it up again in episode 107.
107, there you go. Jeez. So the Cowboys move on.
Boo.
And then today we got the first game, which was the Baltimore-Los Angeles Chargers game.
No, you said it right. I'm proud of you.
Yes, I had to make sure. The Chargers won that game 23-17. It wasn't that close, although Baltimore did have the ball with 54 seconds left and, on their own 35-yard line, I think it was, down 6 points, so they had a chance. Lamar Jackson fumbled. He's had a bit of a fumbling problem this year. He fumbled one more time. And that was the end of the game. The Chargers look really good, but I don't see it for them going forward. I'm actually... I thought they would do better today. They've seen... This is one of those things where I felt confident, and I think last week when we talked about the one home team that was going to lose, I picked the Ravens, and this is why. They played the Chargers a couple weeks ago,
right?
And the Ravens won. The Ravens won that game. It was a close game. It was out in L.A., but, when you see a team twice like that in a few weeks, when you don't see them every season, right, like a division rival, you pick up some stuff and you make some changes, and I think it usually benefits the team that lost, right? Because they make the bigger adjustments. The team that won says, we won. We're going to do the same thing, right? And they had some new wrinkles for Lamar Jackson, and the offense never really got going, although I didn't feel like it was Lamar Jackson's fault. I don't think he played great, but I don't think he played terrible either.
I started watching the game with 10 minutes left in the first quarter. Mm-hmm. So I missed the first 5 minutes. And the Ravens already had 3 fumbles. Only 1 was lost. It didn't get any better after that. So I give credit to the Chargers because they played excellent defense. But for Harbaugh not to go to Flacco in the second half, I have an issue with. Because as good as Lamar Jackson has done this year, and he's taken them into the playoffs, he's still a rookie quarterback. And you didn't give the Chargers defense nothing to adjust to. He wasn't making accurate passes. Flacco would have given you, an opportunity to move the ball down the field. And they, unfortunately, the Ravens weren't doing that with Lamar Jackson. It just wasn't working.
I mean,
and just overall, I think the majority of the credit should go to the Chargers. They played excellent.
Sure.
They played excellent defense. Way back when they had a lot of injuries on defense, and they really. I think they created like 6 turnovers or something like that. I mean, they had like a couple interceptions, and the ball kind of bounced their way. And sometimes that's what you need, a little bit of luck sometimes in these playoffs. And it seems like things are going, the Chargers' way right now. But I definitely would have went to Flacco in the second half, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I mean, it just didn't seem like it was going to work with Lamar Jackson there.
Yeah, I disagree. I don't think the troubles on offense were completely attributable to Lamar Jackson. They couldn't run the ball either. That's not Lamar Jackson's fault. It just didn't seem like the offense could really get going. But here's my problem. Joe Flacco is not, in my opinion, he's not a great quarterback. He's not, I don't even think he's a good quarterback anymore. I think that we're thinking about the Joe Flacco that took them to the Super Bowl against San Francisco 4 or 5 years ago, whenever that was. And that's all fine and dandy, but that's not that guy anymore. And there's a reason he lost the job, and it's not just the hip injury. Because when he came back, he didn't even sniff the starting job. Lamar Jackson's been playing pressure football for 9 weeks or 10 weeks, however long it's been, and he's got him this far. He got him to a division championship in a tough division. He's played well. I think the entire offense did not play well, and I don't think it would have made a difference to put Flacco in. And quite frankly, you ride the horse that got you there, and even if he's not having the greatest of days, I think this is a great experience for him going forward. I think he will benefit greatly from having gone through the experience of an entire playoff game like this against the Chargers today. And look, again, I put Lamar Jackson kind of in the same category as Deshaun Watson. He's a young guy, right? He's barely started this year, right? 8, 9 games. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be really good. Obviously they still live and die by that defense. I wouldn't have gone to Flacco, personally. That's just me.
Yeah.
The Chargers move on. I'll tell you what, I'm concerned for the Chargers going forward. Melvin Gordon again dinged up today. Ingram got dinged up a couple times. It seems like they're starting to wear down, and it may just be bad luck. I don't know, but
I don't know. I feel like the Chargers, have been playing good football all year long.
Mm-hmm.
They show that they can come back from behind, beat the Steelers. They show that they can hang with the Chiefs. I think their defense is playing
good football.
Pretty good. They look good today. So, and this is a team, like you said, they seen the Ravens, they seen Lamar Jackson, so it's easier to
to prepare,
to what to expect going in.
Correct.
So, Chargers look all right to me.
And then the last game of the weekend, really kind of a nice way to finish off the weekend. We got probably the most exciting 16-15 game you're ever going to get.
Yeah, no shit.
That game with the Eagles and the Bears I thought it was great. Neither offense could really get going. It seemed like a lot of fits and spurts, right? They'd go down the field 30 yards and then completely stall out. Or they'd go 3 and out, or it just seemed like it was very difficult to get a complete drive from end to end going. A good 70, 75-yard drive, and the Eagles pulled it out in the end. Down 15-10, Nick Foles drove them down the field. It got from a strategic point of view, it got very interesting at the end. Do you let them score the touchdown? Do you take the timeouts? What do you do? And then the Eagles, throw a pass to Golden Tate to score the go-ahead touchdown, puts them up 16-15. They go for 2. They don't make it. And just incredibly dicey situations that, the running back from the Eagles reaches the ball over, loses control of the ball before he breaks it on the 2-point conversion. If Chicago picks that up and goes the other way, Chicago wins that game 17-16 or takes a 17-16 lead. I mean, it was incredible. And then Mitch Trubisky drives him down the field, does a decent job, and they end up going for a field goal, a 43-yarder. They make it, but wait, there was a timeout called. He goes to kick it again, with the Eagles having no timeouts now, and 10 seconds left in the game. Hits the upright, and then somehow hits the upright and comes straight down to hit the crossbar and does not make it over. Comes back into the field of play and misses that field goal.
That damn shaped football.
Yeah.
Right? Because if it was a baseball or something, or like a round ball, it wouldn't have done that.
It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. A double doink, as Chris Collinsworth called it.
I didn't hear Golden Tate's name all game long.
No.
But, they traded for him, and they went to him, and they got a touchdown. Big touchdown for him. credit to the Eagles' offensive line. Foles got hit a few times. I didn't hear much of Mac's name.
No.
And there was other times that most of the time it looked like Foles had time to throw.
He had a lot. He had time to throw. He had a pretty big pocket. It seemed like not only were they not getting to him, they weren't even really getting in his face.
Yeah.
No pressure up the middle.
Yeah. And we're talking. You're going against the best defense in the league.
Right. Yeah. And you're right. Khalil Mack was pretty quiet today.
God damn, I couldn't remember his name, and I was going to say Kevin Mack. That's why I only said Mack.
Khalil Mack. Yeah, he was pretty quiet today. The guy in the middle, Nix, that guy is a beast.
Yeah. No, I mean,
they were, and the Eagles were routinely double teaming him and whatnot. And I think that kind of kept him at bay. But he gave the Eagles running game fits if they were going to try to run between the tackles because he was taking up two guys, and if they were only putting one guy on him, he was sliding off and making tackles, and he had a great game. My one complaint with the Bears is I think it was a great game. Before halftime, I told you this. They had the ball with a minute 10, I think, left in the quarter. They had all their timeouts, and they moved down the field like, "Hey, let's just get a field goal." And I was like, "You got a minute 10 and two timeouts or three timeouts? Man, try to work your way down the field and get a touchdown." I thought they were
conservative.
Yeah, I thought they were too conservative, and they didn't seem to really go for it, which I thought was silly.
That's exactly what they did too, right? We just went down and got a field goal.
They got a field goal. That's all they got. And and it was right before halftime when we got that really screwy play on the catch and fumble with no clear recovery, which made it an incomplete pass.
Right. Explain that again and break it down because nobody knows.
So let me explain this to all the fans out there. So Mitch Trubisky throws a pass down the field, 30 yards down the field. The guy catches it, takes 3 steps, on the way down gets stripped by the Eagles defender. The ball goes rolling around the 5-yard line.
Sounds like a fumble to me so far, but go ahead.
Right. No one goes to pick it up. The referee picks it up. And, of course, the Bears challenge it. So because no one picked it up, the completion didn't count either. So it was a clear completion. He took 3 steps. It was a clear fumble. The ball was stripped out before his knee and or elbow hit the ground.
The refs confirmed that because they're saying no clear recovery. So they're confirming that it's a fumble.
So because there's no clear recovery, then the pass becomes an incomplete pass. How does that happen?
I'll tell you how. It's the NFL.
Back to the beginning of this show.
That's why you wished.
In 2019, please figure out what's a catch and what's not a catch. I don't understand. If no one bothered to recover the ball, why isn't the ball spotted at the last point where someone had possession?
Or where it was fumbled, right?
Right, which would be where it was fumbled, right? Like when you fumble it out of bounds, right? The last point is where the ball's spotted. It doesn't become an incomplete pass and go all the way back to the line of scrimmage, the original line of scrimmage. Why couldn't it be spotted right where he fumbled it? I just don't understand.
They'll look at this play and revise the rule again for next season.
And here's the other thing. If I'm an NFL player, no referee is ever picking up a fucking football on the ground while I'm on the field. Because I don't give a shit what's going on. I'm picking up the damn football.
Yeah.
I'm establishing clear recovery regardless of the situation.
Seriously, because the referee let that ball be for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So I think he
maybe he knew.
He knew, and he said, "Well, no one's gonna pick it up.
Somebody's got to pick it up."
So he wanted.
Wouldn't it have been great if the ref just stood there and stood right next to the ball and wouldn't pick it up because he thinks it might be a fumble?
Or if he ran it back.
How funny would it have been if the quarterback, all the way back there, notices, starts hauling ass down the middle of the field, picks up, runs it in for a touchdown? No, at that point you can pick it up and run it in.
Right, yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think we'll ever. I don't think the NFL, the fans, the
Please.
players, the coaches will ever know what a catch is.
Please fix the catch rules.
Yeah.
And please fix the VAR rules.
Shit, when you look at it now, that's kind of a costly play, right? Because worst case scenario, they kick a field goal.
Well, no, they did kick a field goal.
They did. Okay, then.
But at that point, they've got 40 seconds now,
Right?
And they're on the 7.
Right.
You're a little more. It gives you a little more guts to go for the end zone, right?
Right.
Instead, they go all the way back to the 40 or whatever. They work it down to the 20 with 10 seconds left. Let's just kick a field goal. Could have been a different game.
Game changer.
Yeah. I mean, so
I guess the question now is, do we all, aside from the state of Pennsylvania,
no, not even the whole state,
do we all
Start buying in?
Do we believe in this Eagles dumb-ass run again? Do we believe in Nick Foles?
I do believe in Nick Foles. I just don't believe he can beat the New Orleans Saints on a bye week on the turf in the Superdome.
But to your point earlier between the Ravens and the Chargers, these two teams met before, so they've seen in New Orleans.
Yeah, the difference being they met early in the season.
It wasn't that early, halfway.
Yeah, it wasn't 2 or 3 weeks ago. Let's put it that way. It was 9 or 10 weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and it wasn't a close game.
No, it wasn't a close game.
It was a beating.
I don't know, man.
To me, that's a little bit different. And the other thing too is obviously the Saints had a bye week, so they can get healthy. Those few nagging injuries can get taken care of.
Yeah, they're tough at home. I mean,
and they're really tough at home.
No other place that the Saints were really
And let me tell you something. The Saints, with 1:10 and 2 timeouts, if they're on their own 20, they're going down. They're going down the field. They're trying to get a touchdown. In fact, I dare to say that with 10 seconds left on their own 20 with 2 timeouts, they're looking to get down the field and get some points. Yeah. That's a different kind of offense than what the Eagles played today. The Eagles defense played well today. I'm not taking anything away from them, but it's a different animal playing against the Saints. And likewise, on the other side of the ball, for Nick Foles, it's a different animal to play against the Saints than it is to play against the Bears. It's a little bit easier. Don't expect a 16-15 game.
Listen, the Saints defense has been top, man. They've been like, I think they lead in like takeaways. Yeah. That's a good defense.
Yeah. But just remember that part of the reason that defense is so good is because the offense puts other teams in a hole. No, and forces other teams to change.
That's unfair to say.
No, I'm not.
When a defense leads in takeaways,
I'm not saying that they're terrible. I'm saying part of what makes them good is the benefit of what they're getting on the other side. Look at the Colts defense against the Texans yesterday. The Colts defense yesterday benefited a little bit. They played well. I'm not taking anything away, but they did benefit a little bit by the offense putting the hammer on the Texans on those first 2.5 drives. And I think the Saints defense benefits a little bit from the track meet mentality that comes from playing against that New Orleans offense. I'm not saying they're terrible. They're very good. But it is a little bit different. It's a different ball game.
I don't know. When a defense leads the league in takeaways, I think you got to credit, and the fact that their defensive coordinator is already getting interviewed from other teams during the playoffs, which I hate, by the way, is, I think, a big contribution to that defense.
They're good.
No, they're real good.
They're good. They're good. I'm not taking anything away from them. Don't mistake what I'm saying.
I don't like that. Other teams interviewing coaches during the playoffs, I have an issue with that. Like, I would, like, if I was Sean Payton of the New Orleans Saints, I would not want you talking to my defensive coordinator. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would not want that. Like, I think they're meeting during this week. I would not want that at all.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think let them finish their season before you talk to them.
I wonder why they allow that.
Isn't
that tampering?
No, you have to ask.
Magic Johnson?
You actually have to ask for permission, and teams
And
normally will grant.
Oh,
permission.
see, okay, then I fault the team, right? If the team is granting permission,
Sean
I
Payton.
would say no. You talk to him after.
Yeah, the only problem with that is a lot of these offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators, obviously they have aspirations to be head coaches. They're not going to want to come play for you if they're not going to want to be your offensive coordinator if they know you're going to pull that kind of move on them.
Nah, man.
So, I mean, I understand what you're saying,
right.
and I agree,
Yeah.
but I also understand the other side.
Yeah.
Sean Payton kind of has no choice.
Okay, then the league should step in and say, just don't allow it.
Don't allow it until
Yeah.
they're out of the playoffs. You know what I found funny was the offensive coordinator from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got 2 interviews.
2?
Yeah.
2? That's
Yeah.
too many.
Who wants to talk to that guy?
Adam Gase got interviews, I think, also coming up
Yeah?
from the Dolphins. Like,
yeah.
he might be.
His situation's a little bit better because he did coach a pretty decent offense and he's going from head coach to OC.
Yeah, and he had to issue with cokeheads.
Right.
It's
a little bit different in the Bucks situation because that guy is an OC interviewing for a head coaching job. And I'm like, you didn't run a very good offense in Tampa. What makes you think he's going to be a good head coach?
Here's something even funnier. Can you name the team that is asking to interview him?
I think it was the Jets.
And?
The Bengals?
The Bengals.
Well, there you go.
He's going to the Bengals. He fits.
I mean, I understand. Look, I'm sure it wasn't all his fault, but the Tampa Bay offense is never like... I've never watched a Tampa Bay game thinking, oh, can't wait to watch this Tampa Bay offense light up the scoreboard.
Yeah. Let's not even talk about the Bucks.
The Bucks. Is anyone talking about the Bucks?
Nope, not even people in Tampa Bay.
So we have our matchup set up for the divisional round.
God, this sucks.
So we've got the Chargers at New England, the Colts at the Chiefs, the Eagles at the Saints, and the Cowboys at the Rams. So we did this last week, right? And we picked one home team who could possibly lose, right?
Right.
Because generally 3 out of the 4 home teams win. We picked this week who the home team would be that would lose. You picked Chicago. I picked Baltimore. So we were both right.
Right.
But this was a weird week in that you had 3 road teams win. Only one home team won.
Usually it's the other way around.
Right. It was a very weird week. So now, for next week, let's do it again. And we did it for next week already.
Right.
But let's do it again, see if we change our mind. I'm not going to let you see what yours is.
I remember.
Chargers at Patriots, Colts at Chiefs, Eagles at Saints, Cowboys at Rams. Which home team loses next week?
I'm sticking with my pick. I'm sticking with the Patriots.
So you think the Chargers will knock off the Patriots?
And
what?
knock off the Patriots and... Come on, say it with me, everybody. Knock off the Patriots and the referees. There you go. Keep going.
I was like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm going to stick with mine. Mine was the Chiefs last week, and I'm sticking with it because the Colts are doing something special. And and look, at the end of the day, the Chiefs have a first-year starting quarterback. It's not his first year in the league, but this is his first year starting. And, I think it... I don't... See, here's my problem with the Chargers. I think the Chargers are starting to get dinged up. The Patriots obviously have the advantage of having the week off. And the other thing, another cross-country trip for the Chargers, right? They had to come all the way to Baltimore. They're going to go back home. And then they have to go all the way back to New England.
I wouldn't even go back home. I would just say,
stay here for a week.
Let's camp out on the East Coast.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. But I think eventually that wears on a team, and I think it's too tough for them to do that. And then on the other side, I just don't. The Cowboys are good. They've had a great season, I think, and their defense is very good. But I just don't trust them in LA against the Rams, a rested Rams team, and I think the Eagles will give the Saints a ball game. I don't think anyone's going to blow the Eagles out of the water. I didn't think the Eagles were going to get blown out today. I didn't think they were going to win, but I didn't think they were going to get blown out. But the Saints are just too much.
Yeah, the reason I'm sticking with the Patriots being the only home team to lose, right? Home team?
Because you're hoping.
Is, no, actually, I'm hoping the Eagles lose, but that's not happening anytime soon. I am a hater. I'm proud of it. Of what? Eagles? Tom Brady kneeling? LeBron James? Yes, I'm a fucking hater. So, the reason I'm picking them is, the Patriots got a chance to rest and everything, but, the Chargers riding some momentum, playing so good on the road. They're going to have to play good again on the road. I think they're up for that challenge. They've won. They're undefeated on the road this season, while the Patriots have not lost a home game. How fucking impressive is that?
That is impressive.
That's impressive.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. Somebody tweeted that out. I would give them credit, but I can't remember who it was. But the Chargers have not lost on the road.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. I just remembered that when I saw it earlier. And look, man, the Chargers have been doubted all season long, banged up, injuries, all of that. Phillip Rivers, this is what we want to see from him. This is what we expected from him, and this is going to be a huge challenge because, much like the Steelers, the Chargers never play well against the Patriots and at New England.
At New England, yeah.
But I think they're up for this challenge. I think they're going to take them down.
I think this is one of the most vulnerable Patriots teams we've seen in many years.
That's a good way to put it.
The Gronkowski hasn't been quite as good as he normally is. He's been dinged up. Remember, the Patriots were moving the ball well during the season when they had Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon is gone. That's a big loss for them. So I do think this is they are at their most vulnerable that they've been in previous years. But I do think the week off is going to help them, and I just don't believe in the Chargers.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. What other game? I think the Saints will win. But man, I don't know, man. Something about the Eagles just kind of scares me, and just this kind of run that. This is it. Just the way it's happening.
Eerie, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like deja vu.
Yeah, it is. It's eerie how similar it is to last
year. They
year.
have to go on the road now, right? I think they had one home game last year, but the rest were on the road.
Yeah.
Right, the last two, and then the Super Bowl. So it's like. Man, but no, I think the Saints should win at home to the Eagles, and then you got Kansas City and Indy is that's a tricky game.
That's why that's an upset to me.
Yeah, or is it an upset?
Oh, I'm sure Kansas City's going to be favored.
Yeah, they're going to be favored, but would you be surprised if Indy won? I don't know if I would be surprised if Indy won.
I think generally when Las Vegas gives you points to pick a team, that means you would be surprised if they won.
Well, that's Vegas, but I'm saying, right, you would take it.
Well, why do you think Vegas gives you points? Because they have more money coming in on the other team, so they want to even it out.
Fuck Vegas. I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts win. That's what I'm saying. And then the team that I really don't trust out of this divisional round is the Rams. I really think Dallas is going to go in there and beat the Rams. I don't trust the Rams at all.
So you think more than one team?
Yes.
More than one home team is going to.
Yes, I do. But I was just sticking to my pick.
Right.
But yes, I believe more than one team.
Go ahead. And
I think
put down the Rams with a little asterisk off to the side because I want to give you credit if that happens.
I'm not scared of that. I really don't trust.
No, I know. I don't want to forget because I think it's
all right.
I really don't think that there's going to be more than one home team that loses, and I really think that it's only going to be the Chiefs that lose.
And look,
so that's mine is. I'm not just saying that because that's the history of it. I'm saying that because I genuinely if I had to bet next weekend, that's how I'm going to bet. I'd bet, straight up to win.
Right.
I'd bet New England, Indy, Saints, and Rams.
Yeah.
That's just one man.
And look, we said it a couple weeks ago. Somebody's figured out the Rams.
That's true.
and I know Dallas hasn't blown people out the water, but they're playing good.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
look,
a
you
good
made
defense.
it up to this point. You're playing good football. You're playing good enough football, and I think the Dallas can show that they have maybe that next level up. And I don't know, man. Maybe this week off for the Rams might hurt them. So
Yeah, you never know. You never know. But it's exciting and it's a lot of fun to watch. Speaking of watching, I hope y'all are watching this on YouTube because we're a couple of handsome dudes talking sports.
that's right.
Well, at least I am.
One better looking than the other.
There's one handsome dude and another dude in a hat.
That's right. Guess who's who?
So if you want to get a hold of the show, share your thoughts on Wild Card Weekend, Divisional Weekend, home teams,
Let us
broken
know
legs.
who. Let us know if you bet. Let us know who you bet. Let
Yes.
us know who your picks are for this upcoming weekend.
We'd love to hear it. You can email the show at positivesports10@gmail.com. Positivesports10@gmail.com. If you want to get a hold of this guy, where do they do that?
On Twitter at Brooklyn Gaucho 8.
And likewise, if you want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on Twitter as well, at eMontana21. You can also reach the show on Twitter, Positive Sports 6. However, at Positive Sports and the number 6. However, we're just getting into the show having its own Twitter.
Yes.
So,
Under construction.
it's under construction.
if you read the bio.
That's
but
right.
follow.
But follow. And speaking of follow, if you want to follow the show, if you want to make sure you get your weekly dose of the Positive Sports Podcast, sometimes twice a week because we get crazy that way, make sure you subscribe, like, follow, whatever, on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, whatever platform you choose to listen to these wonderful shows on. Go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and share your comments with us. Again, we'd love to hear from you.
Word.
With that, I am just about ready to wrap this thing up. You got a shout out this week?
My shout out goes to I want to shout out Mean Gene Okerlund. If you were born in the 80s like I were and you watched some good old school wrestling, you saw Mean Gene Okerlund interview Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, Mr. Perfect, Ultimate Warrior, and he had such a distinctive voice, you can say, I guess. To me it was. And just, he was there with like all-time great performers, and he was such a key piece in wrestling at that point, because he made the enemy go against the ally, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like it was he played the part of kind of instigating and stuff like that, and he has such a good quote when he got inducted to the Hall of Fame. It was like, when I pass, and don't quote me, but it's something along these lines: when I pass away, make sure you bury me face down so all the critics can kiss my ass.
That's a good
I
one.
thought that was awesome of him to do. I kind of wonder if they're going to do that. I don't know. If he left that in his will or something, like, hey, this must be the way you bury me. I mean,
Bury me
that,
upside down.
Yeah, I mean, that would be kind of, But, yeah, so shout out to Mean Gene Okerlund. Growing up, childhood, like I said, if you were born in the 80s, and you watched wrestling, you definitely watched Mean Gene Okerlund.
One of the greats, man.
Yeah.
One of the greats. The thing about that guy that, obviously when I was a kid I never noticed it, but I saw a lot of clips this past week on his passing. He never flinched. Did you notice that?
No?
He's doing these interviews with these guys. He's holding a microphone, and of course, he knows it's scripted, right? But these guys are screaming and yelling, and sometimes I'm sure he probably didn't even know what they were going to say. He's just interviewing, right? He's not like he's not a main character in the play, so to speak. But these guys are screaming and yelling and waving their arms around, and sometimes other guys would come out and there'd be scuffles. He never flinched.
Yeah.
He'd just stand there, just calm as could be, ask his questions, and play his role. Like you said, play his role as interviewer / instigator.
Yeah.
He
did it so cool, right?
Yeah,
Like,
he's
he
just
was
a cool cat.
kind of like Joe Montana, right? Like, he was so cool doing his job, like nothing made him
fazed
flinch.
him. Yeah. That's a good one. I agree with that one.
My other shout out goes to DeAndre Hopkins. The guy did not drop one single pass this NFL season.
That's incredible.
That's amazing. But guess what? That's not why I'm shouting him out. Because he did not drop the opportunity to do something positive for a local family here in Houston. He donated his game check this past Saturday to this game check from the game against the Colts to the family to help with the funeral and all that stuff, to a family that's grieving. So who cares that you didn't drop a pass all season long? This is the highlight of your season, DeAndre Hopkins. Shout outs to you for helping out a family in need.
Yeah. Houston has some great athletes in this town. They do a lot of that kind of stuff, and it was a very tragic situation here in Houston. About 5 or 6 days ago, a family was ambushed by some lunatic, just started shooting into the car, a mother with 3 girls, and unfortunately one of them was shot fatally. All 4 of them were shot, and it just a senseless crime in my opinion, and it was pretty cool that DeAndre did that. My shout out goes to the UConn women's basketball team. They actually lost a game this past week. They lost to the Baylor Bears in Baylor, at Baylor, in Waco. But that snapped a streak of 136 games.
Are you shouting out the loss or the streak that ended?
The streak that ended. I am shouting them out for having a streak that was 136 regular season games. That's, if you're doing the math, that's 4 seasons of going into the postseason undefeated, just about. Really, that's insane. It is absolutely the grade A top-notch program in women's college basketball. I don't get tired of seeing them play in the tournament. I watch the Final Four. They're there every year, and it's incredible that. It's incredible to play at that level of excellence for one season. It's incredible that they do it for as many seasons as they have. For Gino Auriemma and that program to have that drive, to consistently play at that level, to win so many games, it's absolutely amazing. Really one of the most shining star in women's college basketball, by far.
That's impressive.
It's amazing.
I don't care what level that's done in.
Yeah, it's just incredible. Just incredible.
That's awesome.
Alrighty, well, with that, we've come to the end of episode 56 of the Positive Sports Podcast, the Lawrence Taylor episode, the Broken Bones episode.
The Double Doink episode.
Double Doink episode. Wild Card Weekend episode. What else do we want to call it?
The fucking Positive Sports, go check it out episode.
That's always a good one. That's every episode, bro. With that, folks, as I always like to say, I'm not changing it up in 2019. The truth is the truth, man. Ignore the negativity. Be the positivity.
Peace. I got a wedgie.